Hey, it is welcome to Travel Talk. I don't know. Do we have a name for this, Tommy? Do we call
It's called the Miles and Points Report.
It's called the Miles and Points Report. You'd think I'd know that after doing several of these. It is
25th episode is what we have. And you haven't been on all of them because you're gallivanting around the world, staying at fancy hotels.
Yeah, it's my job. It is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. So if you're watching this on YouTube or link or any other, YouTube or Facebook or any other site, just keep in mind the information we're talking about today is current to the best of our knowledge as of the 2nd of March, 2023. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be joined a little later, aren't we?
We are not. Marshall had to bail on today's gig. He has, as he did last week. I hope you see this, Marshall. I mean, he's. I guess it has to do with one of the subjects we're going to talk about is his boss, Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things. Maybe that's why he bailed last minute.
Or he's gallivanting around the world, staying in fancy hotels, one or the other. So.
Yes, Secretary Pete. I don't know if he does that, but he's been. We can start with that story if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. So, Marshall, I was talking about Marshall gallivanting around the world.
He's not. No. He is not. Marshall is a humble guy from the South. He doesn't do that kind of stuff. So that's all
right. Let's start with Pete Buttigieg.
So Secretary Pete is a little bit too popular for the far right peoples, and so they've decided that he's the guy to go after now because he's going to be president one time in the future. They think. Okay. So. It looks like he has taken in the over 2 years that he has been a Secretary of Transportation, he has taken 18 flights or 9 round trips using an FAA plane, or 18 flights on 7 trips total. Meaning that this is the one that's registration N1 and N2. These are two small, very small Cessna Citations. So it's not like he's bringing a 747 plus a Starlift, or what is it called, a C-141 or a C-17, C-17 to support it to go down to Florida to play golf or anything like that. We're talking about tiny plane. Which makes sense every once in a while. We've heard it last week, and so they was been criticized because he couldn't get fast enough out to Michigan. I guess they wanted him to take Southwest out there to go to take. No, not Michigan. Where was that disaster?
Ohio.
Ohio. Yes. Yeah.
Well,
I guess they can't have it both ways.
But he's transportation secretary. He's got a plane. I mean,
the FAA has 2 planes. They got 2 citations with cool registrations, N1 and N2, and he has spent $41,905. He has spent in the 2 years.
That's one golfing trip for the Trumpster. I don't know whether that's one golfing trip for the Trumpster.
No. Air Force One is $125,000 per hour. Trump spent $128 million playing golf when he was in office.
Wait, are you kidding? Is that an exaggeration?
No, that's there is a Snopes on that. I don't want this to be in a political thing. We're not
okay.
But it's not what the show is about. But he's had 138 flights on commercial flights. Pete Buttigieg has, and
that's good.
And 7 of the trips. He flew commercial or private, or not private, because these are Air Force pilots, and it's not the same cost as the DOT rent or the FAA renting a plane. These are FAA's plane, and they're for this use. So, and also I think that he also brought with him his husband on his official travel to Europe. Like Melania and stuff like that. So who knows? But now there's an investigation. There is a FAA investigation on the usage, his private jet usage, right?
7 round trips.
7 trips, yes.
And they're doing an investigation of 7 round
Correct.
trips. Okay.
$41,000 US. Okay. Now Congress is going to have Marjorie Taylor Greene sit there and that's going to be fun.
God.
So that's case number 1.
Okay.
We also have so I did the wrong thing. Let me go back in that. I think it's a waste of resources. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the Transportation Secretary has taken hundreds of private flights. If more if more
Actually, it's
bureaucrats.
only 7 trips, 18 flights total, and he's had over 150.
No, I mean,
would say that's kind of his
I'm glad
job,
he's
right?
taken commercial flights. The transportation sector ought to see what commercial flying is like. I'm glad he's done it. I hardly think 7 trips, unless they're frivolous trips, which I guess
They're
that's what this investigation is going to try to find out. Okay, not making it political, but I don't think this is a big whoop right now yet.
No,
Yeah.
it absolutely is not. It's baloney.
Okay, that's baloney. What else?
But now it's that's what Congress is about. All these committees are a bunch of crap. They should get to work and get some work done, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
Today,
Virgin Atlantic today officially joined Skyteam, and that's a great addition to your favorite alliance, Rudy.
Yes, since I live in Minnesota, St. Paul, and Delta owns the place, it's nice to have Virgin Atlantic total reciprocity now, even though Delta owns half the airline, I think.
Right. I just redeemed a flight for one of my team members today to go to Europe on Virgin Atlantic, and I used Virgin Atlantic miles, and because there's a transfer bonus now, 30%, and it cost me 22,500 miles, or 21,500 miles, because I transferred over. There's a 30% transfer bonus now to transfer for your Capital One miles over to
really?
over
I want
to
to write that
Atlantic.
down. I want to write that down.
So 30% extra. That means that 21,000 miles from Austin. Scott's going to the Loyalty Summit in Zurich in a couple of weeks, and he's flying premium from Austin to London for 20,500 miles one way in premium, their premium economy, which is actually a good premium economy.
So is it like 40,000 round trip?
With the discount, with the transfer bonus now, is 40,000, a little bit just north of 40,000, 40,800, I think it is. Didn't do the exact
round trip in premium economy. That is great.
But there's a $326 fuel surcharge each way.
Because it's always expensive flying into London. Yes.
Correct. No, it's not really that. This is from Austin, so it's the airline that gets that money. It's BA and Virgin has the same thing where they have these surcharges on.
So is there a Heathrow landing charge as well?
No, on the other, not when you are connecting in Heathrow. If you are originating at Heathrow, this is a concept, really, really, really good for BA and Virgin misconception about these fees. There is no fee going into Heathrow. There is no fees if a premium fee, if you fly business class or premium. There's no fee if you are connecting in Heathrow both ways. If you're flying from Zurich, for example, like Scott's doing, from Zurich to Heathrow to Austin, there's no fee. There's if you're going from Austin to Heathrow or anywhere to Heathrow and terminate there, then there's no fee. The fee is if you are starting your journey in London Heathrow. There's a departure tax for customers that are departing from London. That's where the tax is. And it's $180 is how much that tax is. The fee is what originally was called fuel surcharges that BA and Virgin charges. And for Virgin, it's $326 for this particular flight. From Austin to London. And out of that, I think that probably the carrier imposed fee is what they call now, is probably $280 of that. Then you have, if he was flying in business class from Austin, which wasn't available, then it would have been there's not much extra miles, 37,000, I think it is, before you get the transfer discount. So it's very, very inexpensive with miles, but it's $875 in those carrier imposed fees.
Wow. Okay. I knew for business class it was quite expensive. Okay.
Right.
All right.
But this window has been open for a long time. That's not new with Virgin Atlantic. This is like you earn miles when you also have earned miles on Delta, but now it's like completely a part of it. And we also saw today that Virgin Atlantic is launching Seoul from London, and also are launching, and they're actually pulling out completely out of Hong Kong.
Really?
So it's the summer out, and they're doing it for some regulatory challenges to help out Korean Air, who are merging with Asiana. That's kind of the gig that they have for slots, probably. That they're trying to hang on to the slots that Korean and Asiana had, something like that. So I think that's what the play here is. So there's an opportunity to London to do that with the same fuel surcharges at all, of course.
Okay. All right. That's good. And the only people who can't use if you're an Elite Plus flyer on Delta, you can use the fancy Virgin Lounge in Heathrow. But
you can, which you could already, right? If you there's some what am I trying to say here? Reciprocal things, things where Delta has some sort of a partnership agreement since they are the largest shareholder of Virgin Atlantic, right?
But if you're Delta Gold, you can't get in.
I think so. It's Skyteam Elite and Skyteam Elite Plus, but I think both.
Nope. They carved out for Delta Gold and below. You can't.
You sure that's not only for domestic here in the U.S.?
No, that's for the Virgin Atlantic Terminal 3 or whatever they're in lounge in Heathrow. You cannot get in even if you're Gold on Delta, unless you're flying business class. Obviously.
Well, then you get in anyways. They only have one lounge, so that's how that goes. Okay, let's move on to so we've had a fee for Europeans called ESTA a long time, where Europeans have to pay a fee that have an ongoing visa or a visa waiver for many, many years, and now that this was supposed to come back. It should be paid back now. So Americans going to Europe has to pay something similar.
Well, they've been planning that fee they've been planning that fee since 2016, and it was supposed to start in 2021, and then it was going to start this year. And just this week, the European Union announced that what's called the e-visa that we're going to have to get as Americans, that costs €7, by the way, when it happens. Maybe it'll be more by the time it happens. They're pushing that back to 2024. It's going to require us to have both fingerprints taken and a facial recognition photo taken, and we're going to have to use it to get into Europe.
Right. So now finally the Europeans are doing what the Americans have done for the last 20 years.
Right, but they pushed it now back to 2024 because all these countries are saying it's going to take 2 to 4 times the time it takes to clear customs because of this darn system than it does now.
Right.
So
that's exactly what Europeans are doing when they come here. They stand in line like dumbskis, and they've been doing that for years as well.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not fair. I'm just saying Americans get a break now. So
I will tell you that the border crossing into the U.S. has been greatly improved the last few years. So like right now, when you go to L.A., you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to get your hands out of your pocket or take out a document or do anything at all. You walk into the global entry, if you have global entry, of course. You walk into the global entry area, you scan, you look up at the camera, they scan your face, and you walk straight through and you walk out.
Wow.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to show paperwork at all, which is amazing.
I got to get my global entry back ever since I was.
Yeah, you do. You know what they say, an apple a day it keeps the TSA away.
Ever since I was caught bringing that apple back from Paris, they took away my global entry. So I got.
You know what happened? That's the first book of the Bible. Apples are deadly.
I know how to get it back. I just got to write a letter, but I haven't written it. So.
All right. So we have another thing that you sent me, Travelers United. Never heard of this, but it must be some sort of an organization that you sent me.
Yeah, it's a consumer. It's a consumer. It's run by a guy I know. It's a consumer travel organization that lobbies for. Smart legal law changes regarding airlines and so on.
Well, it's not United being nice. This is it's mandated now, right? It's hang on for a sec. Here are the new rules from the DOT. Let me just put that up on the screen. This is
all about families traveling together, which the president mentioned in his State of the Union message, and the airlines are now going to have to accommodate you without an extra charge.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when it officially kicks in. I know Southwest and United are doing it now. I know Delta has not officially announced it, but maybe.
Yeah. So now we know that everybody except Delta has come out and said, United was 2 days ago, or for February 22nd. American came out today.
When is Delta going to be mandated? When is the law come?
I don't think it's a law. I think that it's
a rule. It's a rule.
Yeah, it's a rule. Yeah. Not 100% sure when it goes into action, but it seems like there's going to be a good, finally, a consumer crackdown. Travelers United I'm sure will be happy about that this will be mandated now soon, so
Yeah.
we can get, this is a small thing. I mean, at the end of the day, this is something that Europeans are not, kind of disinterested in, and the legal implications for this particular thing. It's a thing, yeah, sure, but if in Europe there's a lot of legislation, as you know, that protects you when things are delayed, when things get canceled, which we don't get any. There's no such thing here in the U.S., right?
Not compared to what the protection the Europeans have. You're right.
If they lose your bag forever, that's kind of when it kicks in, right?
Right.
All right, so that's good news. I mean, anything that's better for consumers, it seems like that's a thing, and also it seems like the pet peeve, the founders and the biggest lovers and the biggest purveyors of resort fees, which is Marriott, which is the other thing that you brought to my attention today. They are also the Biden administration are sniffing at resort fees and other junk fees now.
Yeah. And of course, because of COVID for a while there, they weren't cleaning hotel rooms every day. And now the story is Marriott International says, well, if you stay in one of their high priced places, like a Ritz-Carlton or something, you will get something. What do they call it? A daily something? What did they call it? They're going to have a tiered system for how your room gets cleaned during your stay.
So if you are at JW's, if you're at the Ritz-Carlton W, Luxury Collection, St. Regis Edition, or Bulgari, it's back to pre-pandemic style where you get daily housekeeping, you get turn down service and things like that. But the other brands, they are doing what was it called? The Daily Tidy.
Or Tiny Tidy or something, where they come in.
Daily Tidy, it's called.
They'll make your bed, change your towels, empty the wastebasket, and you're out. So they're not vacuuming or brushing the blinds or anything.
No cleaning.
Right. Okay. And all of them are IHG, Hilton. They're all fighting. They all have different rules, and they keep changing them.
Yeah.
There's a daily
Marriott is by far the Marriott has the new CEO Anthony Capuano has been very. He's not your man. He's not my man as a lifetime titanium either. He is the franchise, the big bucks, the franchisees. They are his customers. He doesn't care very much about the customer at all. To him, he doesn't give a flying Walenda. We see both Hilton and Hyatt, when you are so you are saving all these points. There's devaluation, and you got these points. You've been sitting around with them forever, and you're finally redeeming them to go on vacation in California or Hawaii or in Mexico or wherever the case may be. And boom, you're going to have to pay $150 a fee per night in resort fees and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of junk fees. But Hilton and the two other big guys, which both Hilton and Hyatt, the kind of comparable hotel chains, they waive those when you use your points to redeem. So this is a typical Marriott thing, trying to cut corners, trying to do things. And do we need to have things cleaned up every day? Absolutely not. You don't need that, but you should have the option to. It shouldn't be. It's like we hear from our guests. It's like our guests are saying that we don't want housekeeping anymore. It's like the worst BS. It's like either they have, of course, it's just made up, or there's a couple of drunk guys who are sitting there having a focus group figuring this out. So I don't know. I think that Hilton has a different approach. They are you can have it if you want to. And Hyatt, they're back in the game. I mean, we were at the Figueroa. They had full turndown service. When I walked in the door, the slippers were there and everything. So at the end of the day, I think that this is just a cheapskate nest that he has gotten these owners who are now charging for holiday stays. They're charging up the yin yang for hotel rooms, and they are too cheap to there's no shortage of first we can't find people anymore. And then all of a sudden, the unemployment numbers go up, and then that's not the excuse anymore. So then the truth comes out. We're going to start cutting back on that because we hear from our guests that that's what they want.
Yeah. Well, I think cleaning rules are going to differ and keep changing every few months with each hotel chain till they get back to where they used to be. But you know,
Yeah,
a tiny.
I agree. I agree that you don't need it every day, but that should be a customer's option. It shouldn't be the hotel's.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
All right. So Marriott has for a long time. I've never used this feature. I wonder if you have. You could advance your points, meaning that if you didn't have enough points
Yes,
for a stay,
I never used it, but I knew they offered it. Haven't they just stopped that?
They just stopped it recently. On the March 28th is the end of it.
Is that your buddy again who stopped it?
I don't think it's him directly, but I don't think the CEO gets involved in that.
Well, let's explain this. So you used to, if you didn't have enough Marriott points to stay at a particular hotel, you could ask for an advance, a loan of points. You could ask for an advance.
Correct.
And that's going to end later this month. You're going to either have enough points or you don't have enough points.
Right? Exactly. So it's honestly, I don't think I've ever heard about anybody using this feature, and but
I think somebody if you're an annoying 100 points away or something, you might use it. But
exactly. But then you can just go ahead and buy it for like a couple of bucks. So
yeah, true.
And but at the end of the day, it was a legacy Marriott feature that the legacy Marriott members liked. And they're the ones who are rattling the case. I'm not a legacy Marriott guy. I'm a legacy Starwood preferred guest guy. So that's where I got my lifetime status and who I was loyal to. Marriott to me is like what is that? My big fat Greek wedding. It's boring. It's like toast, like dry toast, people. That's how boring Marriott is to me. Of course, they have some of the good hotels, but still, at the end of the day, it's not something that's SPGers. And I haven't seen any outrage about it out there. I just thought it was worth mentioning.
We don't know what guests are saying then?
That's true. That's true.
I think it'll be fine. Although we're not going to get. So too. I guess Marriott's not coming in as an advertiser of our webcast anytime soon. If you have anything to do with it.
Again, the Walenda brothers, we talked about them a little earlier, and that's how much we care about that. But let's actually, Marriott's are big sponsors of us. They don't care. They want. You're a journalist. You almost won the Pulitzer Prize for crying out loud. Why would they care?
What's that got to do with anything?
Because your journalists are supposed to call it like it is. I'm not a journalist, but
right. Okay.
You're a journalist. You're an educated journalist, a smart guy, and that's why. And I wouldn't expect that Marriott would interject with. If that was the case, they wouldn't even come to Gary Leff. It's like their biggest hater there is, and we're still friends, and we all talk. It's a professional opinion. If David Flick, the guy who runs the loyalty program, was listening, I wouldn't have said anything different because he knows how I feel about this stuff.
All right. So
let's move on to
another
things that has
near miss. Another near miss.
Yeah, it's been a lot of those lately, hasn't it?
I think this is the third I can think of in just in the last month or so. Yeah.
Yeah, you had American Airlines crossing the runway illegally without clearance at JFK.
With a FedEx. That was the one with the FedEx plane?
This is the one with the FedEx plane. So I watched a video last night, and I thought I'd just mention it. I wanted to say, this was mostly for Marshall because he is a retired pilot. But it seems like Austin this is where this happened. There was FedEx had a 767 that was on short final landing. And when there is in Austin, it's very typical in some places in Europe, and also when there's humidity and stuff like that in the winter, there's a little layer of 200 up to 200-300 feet. It's thick fog with very little visibility. And then you use the category 3 where you can do this category 3 auto landings where you can land in zero visibility. You don't have to really have visibility at all, but it requires, more spacing, more things, more attention to details. And also some airlines require that you turn off all electronic equipment so there's no interference. It's not like it's going to crash the plane, but it might disengage the localizer, so you have to go around. So that's why they sometimes ask you to turn off the all electronic equipment, not just airplane mode, but literally turn everything off. They will require you to do that. So this 767 was on short finals, and Southwest was ready to take off on a 737 MAX. I think it was a MAX, or it doesn't matter, 737 of some kind. He got clearance from the tower, and was also told that Southwest was on 3 Mile final, which, from what I could read yesterday, is not sufficient to safely do that. So the air traffic controller is the one getting blamed for this, and rightfully so. There's a lot of comments about it online that this particular air traffic controller has a history of this kind of stuff, and he not paying attention or not being good enough at that stuff. So it was just spacing. So the 737 from Southwest took a little extra time that morning because of the visibility. Southwest is known for taking off quickly. They always, when they get the clearance, they take off. Their pilots are super professional, best in the business. They are really, really good pilots. So when they get the clearance, they go. And but this morning, the plane took a little bit extra time. Maybe the air traffic controller decided that, it's Southwest, so he'll be fast to get out. So that didn't happen. The 767 comes over the Southwest plane that's about to take off.
And finally sees it.
Right. And he actually, you have TCAS, so traffic, traffic collision alert system that will tell the plane that you're about to crash. So it will then give you evasive action, but what you should do. But Southwest will also get that alert. But what can you do when you're on the runway and you're at vector speed for taking off? You can't keep going and you can't brake, then you'll run off the runway.
No, it required FedEx to pull up, right? Yeah.
So FedEx pulled up and saw the Southwest, and one of the FedEx pilots screamed out and said, "Southwest abort the takeoff!" Right? He said, "Southwest abort" is the only thing he said, and Southwest pilot said negative, because normally an air traffic controller has a different voice, and he would say Southwest, and then he will say the call sign, and then it will say abort. So the air traffic controller will say that. Or in this case, the tower, but that didn't happen. So the Southwest started to climb, and the FedEx was was quick up to 3,000 feet, and that was a really, really, really close call. So there's been a lot of them lately. I think that with the kind of money that this wasn't I think that this was an error by the air traffic controller. I don't think that the pilots were to blame at all in any of this, but we're obviously going to have to see until the report comes out.
Well, if one of these too close to calls causes a collision between two airplanes, it's going to be ugly.
This plane had, a 737 from Southwest can have either 140 something seats or 160 something seats. So yes.
Oh God, I'm so glad it missed.
Me too. It's 100 feet we're talking about. 100 feet. It's way too close for comfort. So literally, if the FedEx pilots, with their utmost professionalism, didn't pull up, because the TCAS or the collision warning system will say you need to climb up to this. It will give both planes an instruction how to get away from each other.
Right.
And Southwest couldn't do anything other than to try and climb as little as possible.
Right.
If he would have taken off and the plane would have landed, the FedEx plane would have landed on the Southwest plane.
Yeah. Okay. That's over with.
Anyways, it didn't happen, thankfully, and we are happy about that. All right. So speaking of, since we are related to that right now, you can bid on your United miles to go fly sims in Denver now. I think they've done that before in one of their auctions that they have.
They do the simulator. Yeah, it's fun. The simulator, I did it once and I went off the runway every time I landed in the simulator. So I'm not a candidate for a pilot.
Right. So now I think the highest bidding, 380,000 miles.
Wow.
Is what it is.
For a chance to spend 15 minutes in a simulator, maybe longer.
I don't think it's 15 minutes because it says Friday, April 14th. It says 2 round trips in domestic economy. Ooh, 2 hours in a Boeing simulator, 2 hours in an Airbus simulator. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. That's a lot. You should be a pilot by the time you get out of there.
Yeah, at least for Ethiopian. Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
I can't believe you just said it.
Meet and greet with the United Training Center team, emergency procedures tour, give a class, and then you get an emergency slide. You get a premium souvenir gift, breakfast and lunch. So it's a full day at the training center. I've been there. It's pretty darn cool. It's all
United just opened another. They opened a couple months ago. They opened a pilot training facility where if you enroll and are accepted, you don't pay anything, and you get paid. Actually, they just opened a similar facility. United did. I think it's in the Chicago area to train mechanics.
cool.
So they'll have their own mechanic school.
That's interesting.
And
yeah, I think it's leaning more towards that right now. And I think that, back in the day, in the Continental days, they usually had a lot of they had a lot of stuff, Continental up until the merger, they served food and coach, right, on all their flights back in the days, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was really good also compared to now, which the plane crash that is United, no pun intended, is the catering now. But they used to have that. And they also had their own express service, so meaning that they had their own regional jets back then. So it's good to see a little insourcing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. And I'll give a shout out. We'll get away from the bad news a little. I've flown Delta a couple of times recently, and on the planes that have the new Wi-Fi that's free for everybody,
right,
as long as you're a member of their frequent flyer program.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, and it's really fast, and you can stream with it.
Cool. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, JetBlue has the same thing. I flew JetBlue. You remember when we went on our Maxa Tours sales call at the New York Times Travel Show?
Yeah, I know.
Not the New York Times, the Travel and Adventure Show in New York.
Right.
I flew JetBlue because it's the only flight that goes back to Sacramento nonstop where I live. And only coach, of course, but they had it on that flight, and it was lightning fast. I streamed Mayor of Kingstown, so all the episodes that's been dropped already on that flight. So that's great.
Good news. That's good news. Okay, I got to go soon. What's the Lufthansa thing? A new first class suite?
Yes. So we knew about this. This was dropped. This is actually an article on Flyer Talk of all things. I think they had the best coverage yesterday of this thing. Everybody wrote about it, but the most pictures are here. This is our friend Joe Cortez back in the game writing again.
He wrote that?
He did. See,
oh my God!
Corner. He's another picture of Joe for about 20 years ago.
I see it.
Right. So Lufthansa is redoing their whole fleet with a brand new first and business class, and they're doing something that I think is interesting. They have sort of a staggered thing, meaning that you have products within business class, and first class is obviously like this. So you're seeing. You got a double bed, full double bed, meaning that you get a suite with no window in the middle for what that's worth. Like a full wall goes all the way up to the thing, so you can actually close the door and have your own little bedroom in there. And then I'm sure there'll be some hanky-panky on the Mile High Club in there.
Right, but theoretically, it's just for one person?
No, it's actually, these suites are for two people. See, you have
okay.
two seats next to each other.
Okay.
And you can have a double bed like that, which I think is just amazing.
I like that.
Right. Closable doors and all that stuff. It can be made into two beds. So one D and E. So it looks like this is one seat that you kind of go together and stuff.
Right.
These are all the pictures there are. They didn't say too much about it. And
Very
there weren't
nice.
any American journalists covering the event, I think. But
Very
here's
nice.
what I find the interesting part is that you can see their business class picture. They have, let me see here if I can find, I was looking at, I think it was Lucky who Lufthansa new first class suites. Here we go.
I haven't had a double bed in a plane since the old MGM Grand that I used to fly.
See here you see how the new business class is going to look. You have a one-seater here and a one-seater here, which is kind of like all of these staggered business class seats are today.
Wait a minute, is that 111 or 121?
So it's one. So it's depends who you ask. So it's you have to have a cubby hole to do a fixed suite. But if you look closely, you will see that back here it's kind of like Polaris, but better, right? Polaris is really tight. It's not really a good seat, in my opinion, for a guy who's a little bit larger. But if you notice the first row, it's completely different. There's no cubby holes. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Well, here's the score. In the first part, you see that there's walls that go higher up there than it is for the rest of the cabin.
Right.
Well, here's the picture from the other side. You have walls and you have all the other, you have doors and walls and a specific, more private room in the first row. And also you have no obstruction in front of you, no cubby hole. So you can actually get a real bed. So you don't have to put here you go, here you put your feet in the little hole there and you lose your circulation in the legs if you're taller than 5'8" after about 30 minutes. And then you wake up and you have to turn.
Right.
But here, they don't have any obstruction. So they have a class business class within the business class.
They're going to charge more for it, do you think?
They are selling 6 of these seats. It's called extra long bed, extra workspace. Baby bassinets are in the seat. So they're calling it something else, like business class plus or something like that.
So it's going to cost a little more.
It'll cost a little bit more for sure. It'll cost, let's see if we have, I guess Nikki Kelvin was there. It is called, you can also have seats here together also in
I see.
in the stuff. But yeah, so I think at the end of the day, nobody cares about that, but that's the gig there. We talked a little bit. The last thing I just want to mention before I know you have to leave, but the last thing that we wanted to talk a little bit about is the changes to the Hyatt categories. We covered that in an extra broadcast yesterday, where me and Jamie were on a call yesterday. But did you see any hotels that you were thinking about? I saw your beloved Hotel du Louvre is now going to be 30,000.
I tried to book it at the old rate of 25,000 for November today, and it said, "Oh, we're not accepting any rooms for points right now." And I also tried to
for your specific dates, it's probably sold out.
Yeah, well, I tried to, and then I also 2 days ago tried to book something for Paris in July for points, and Park Hyatt wouldn't take it, nor would the Hotel du Louvre, which is part of the Hyatt
summer
family.
in Europe is going to be record busy this summer.
Well, I was trying to book for November, I don't know, 19th or 20th.
So the Hotel du Louvre went from 20 to 25, and now up to 30,000 is the new rate for that.
Well, the room rates are like $700 each, so it's not
for
too
the
bad.
Hotel du Louvre.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
They're nice rooms.
That is crazy.
They're nice rooms, but they are expensive.
But I'll leave after the broadcast is over. I'm going to leave a description I'll leave it in the descriptions. What the link to the webcast we did yesterday. We did 45 minutes where we went in details about each of these various hotels.
What have you got on the screen? I can't see because I'm on a phone.
These are the changes.
By specific hotel?
Correct.
Oh yeah, will you put a link in the?
I will put a link in the description so you can watch the video with us. We went through the whole list yesterday and analyzed it.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
The last thing I wanted to mention is we have an in-person FTU coming up we have a virtual seminar coming up first on March 11th. Which is free for our online members. You pay $69 a year, and you get a $50 coupon to go to a regular FTU, and then you can log on to 10 of these webcasts a year or webinars a year that we're doing. We're doing Advantage. We're doing Credit Cards 201. We're doing. It's not going to be Stefan. It's actually Jamie Haas that's doing that sessions. And also we're doing a maxmypoint.com, which is a new expert flyer style site for hotels. We're going to have the owner and founder and owner of that company, maxmypoint.com. He's going to be on at 10:30 on Saturday. So you should try and tune into that if you are a member. If you're not a member, support the FTU would be great. And we also have our in-person event, which is in Washington, D.C., still the early bird price until it's still 2 more weeks to purchase to the early bird price. Here, we're going to be actually at the Jamie's Fancy Club, the City Club of Washington, is where the FTU will take place.
When is that?
Pardon?
When is that?
May 6th.
Oh, there it is up top. May 6th.
Yes,
okay.
Where you can meet Nick Reyes from Frequent Miler. You can meet Stefan Krosowski, Ben Coleman-Cool, Jamie Larunas. And then the girls and Sarah Dye and Derek Dye from Travel on Points, the website, and it's starting to take off a little bit. We got Dia Adams from Forbes. We got Marshall Jackson, who missed it today. We got Trevor Mountcastle, great friend of ours, and Robert Girl and some other people. So if you want to hang out with FTU, we got about 20 more spots available out of the 75 we have for the pizza dinner that's on complimentary on Saturday night, where we're going to
That's great. That's great. It might even be not too hot and humid in Washington yet in early.
I think first week of May is going to be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yes.
All right.
And that's the story of today.
Okay.
Remember,
we're coming to you live.
Journalist.
And remember, we're coming to you live March 2nd, 2023. So keep that in mind as you process this information. All right, Tommy, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your dinner, and we'll talk soon, guys. Thanks for joining in. Thanks.
Bye-bye.